Hey guys, it is time to work on the last reading wrap-up of the year. I am starting with the cover page and I much prefer when I can work on my pages with you guys, talking to you in real time, but I am sick, as you can maybe tell from my voice. I have had quite stressful last couple of weeks or months and my body decided it had enough. Also, it suddenly is cold outside. Who would have thought that weather would be cold in January, right? Anyway, I am already feeling better, but when I was working on these pages, I did not have it in me to comment on what I was doing, and I really had not one full thought in my mind at the time, and I was struggling with this cover page a lot. I was going back and forth, not sure what stationery to use, but I was so excited to work in my reading journal again. I just had to do it, so that's why I am doing a voiceover now. I was so excited to use these long wintry designs and I was determined to use them in this setup even when the other stationery was not fitting with it that much. After I covered the whole bottom section of the spread with these big stickers, I had no idea what to do with the top half of the spread. I found this cloud PET tape and it was close enough in colors, so I put that in. And I also had this winter sticker sheet by Ikigai Papier, and the girl seemed like she would fit the theme. Background is, I admit, rushed and kind of out of place, but you know what? I am happy with what I created. I finally used these long winter stickers and I stuck to the winter theme in blues and browns, and who cares that the perspective is all over the place? Well, I do, but considering I had no idea what I was doing and I worked solely with vibes, this actually turned out good. I had a great creative session and that's what matters. I also can't forget to add book covers of all books I read during the month onto the right side next to the calendar. One of them I was not able to finish yet, but the other 8 I did. I never expected to read 8 books in December. That's thanks to the Lightfall week. That's part of the magical readathon, and I chose a couple shorter books to tackle in that time. Lastly, I am filling in the calendar. I like to mark here days I read each book, and then I write down its title. If there is a book I did not finish, I write there the percentage of the book I read that month, so it is then easier for me to work on the monthly statistics and such. I will come back later to fix the title because it is bothering me. I think it's way too big for that space, but the cover spread is essentially done. Let's talk about books now. First book I finished in December was Alchemised. There is a lot of controversy surrounding this book. Some things I agree with, some don't, and I do not want to go into all of that because there is a lot to discuss. So my review now will be brief. We can still discuss it in the comments or DM me on Instagram if you'd like. This book is dark, atmospheric, tragic, tense, and way too long story about 2 people trying to survive a war. It is more than 1,000 pages long and I wish it was edited more. I just don't understand why big publishers take either self-published books or fanfictions in this case and do not do their job. Do better. For the decoration, I am using art by Avendel. I wish this artist also did the cover of the book. That would be so awesome. Let's flip over to the next blank page, and here I will do a review for Matched by Ali Condi. It is a young adult dystopian romance from 2010, and while its average rating on Goodreads is 3.6, I had a great time. I just love dystopian fantasy stories. I love seeing authors' idea of dystopia, what they change, what they keep from our real world. In this story, in the society with big S, everything is decided by officials. What you eat, where you work, when you die, who you marry, kind of. Everything is trying to be squeaky clean, everything has its order, its rules. Our main character, Cassia, has lived in the society her whole life. She believed that things are as they should be, but after a mishap with her match, a guy chosen by the society for her to marry and have the optimal marriage and healthy children, she begins to suspect that maybe not everything is perfect. I was pleasantly surprised that I was not as frustrated with her as I tend to be with majority of young adult female protagonists, and she even grew on me more with time. We also saw a nice character growth, which I appreciate. I still do an eye roll or two at her choices, but I have to realize that she is a teenager who was smart when we were young. Also, what I do like about this book is that the author does not say this world or this way of living is wrong or not. She shows us that some people do like to be taken care of, some people do not like to make choices, they like everything to be done and decided for them, so they thrive in this environment. Love triangle part of this story is, I have to say, no love triangle. It is pretty obvious to everyone who she is going to choose, especially because author keeps forgetting the other guy is even in the story. This was easy to read and not necessarily long, which I appreciate. Ending felt a bit rushed, but there are 2 more books in the series, so hopefully I will get some answers. Matched was a suggestion by Christine after I asked you guys to recommend me a book with a light green cover for my Read the Rainbow challenge. Thank you, Christine, so much. And thank you to everyone else who put their suggestions in the comments as well. I will slowly get through them all. Now let's do a small section for Luminescence, an art book by Djamila Knopf. She is a German artist whose illustrations feel very calming and nostalgic. I have been a fan of her art for many years now. I even bought her yearly calendar for 2025. The theme was cats and it was the most adorable thing ever. I still have it on my wall just to admire the illustrations. Picture I chose for the flip out is from the art book and it was so difficult to choose only one picture. Her art is gorgeous. And I am doing another flip out for the Raven Boys graphic novel. I kept delaying reading it until now because I knew it would be a relatively quick read, so I planned on reading it during a Lightfall event. Reading this graphic novel felt so good, so cozy. I could relive the Raven Boys story. Well, its beginning, and I forgot how much I liked that series. I would of course recommend reading original novels. I am not sure how I would like this graphic novel if I did not read the novels before, but the nostalgia kicked hard with this one. I can't forget to say that I love the art style and colors used in the illustrations. It took me a few days to finish because I kept enjoying the art. The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow is the last book I finished in 2025, but I am having the review here because I noticed that the cover has same colors as the picture from the Raven Boys graphic novel I chose for the flip out. It is a fantasy romance. I know, who am I to choose a romance read, but the cover was pretty okay. It is also historical fiction with time travel elements, telling story about Una Everlasting, orphaned girl who became a legendary knight, and past soldier, now scholar, Owen Mallory. They were born 1,000 years apart, yet they find their way to each other. It is also a story about what happens when the high-ups have the ability to change the narration of the past and what or who are they willing to sacrifice. The romance was okay. You could feel the hope and yearning between them, even when it maybe felt a bit like instant love. And it lost me with more explicit scenes. Those threw me out of the story completely. They just felt like they were written for some other book or something, I don't know. While romance and time travel are topics I usually stay away from, the prose is beautiful, yet story might feel repetitive and confusing at times, especially in the beginning. The second part of the story picked up the pace, which was appreciated. Story is written in what seems like the second-person narrative. It is not. It consists of what looks like letters they wrote to each other, which is a choice, and it makes it hard for the reader to connect with the characters. I do appreciate this book and its many layers and themes, but I have to say I liked the Starling House more. That said, I am definitely going to pick up a book from this author in the future. Now, this is the last full spread I have in this notebook, so I am going to try and fit in the remaining 3 books. Let's start with Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zeng by Kylie Lee Baker. I heard so much praise about Bat Eater, so I gave it a go, especially because it is a horror story and I want to branch out from reading mostly fantasy, so I was like, why not? Only I did not realize it is a COVID story. I just do not have any desire to read books set in that era because I am a pharmacist and I have my own traumas from that period of time. I guess we all do. I should have realized that from the title alone, but oh well, it did not even cross my mind. Cora Zeng is a crime scene cleaner during the COVID pandemic. She took this job after witnessing her sister being thrown under the train solely because she looked Chinese. She was Chinese American, just as Cora is. While cleaning the murder scenes, Cora realizes that all victims are Asian women and there is no effort by police to solve those crimes, so she tries to figure out what is going on herself while battling the trauma, grief, guilt, fear and the realities of day-to-day life as an Chinese American woman, since hatred and racism against Asian people sadly skyrocketed during that time. This is a murder mystery and a ghost story in one. It is gory and bloody. Some scenes are described pretty vividly, just be aware of that. I did not have a problem with those. That's maybe why horror books are not that scary or unpleasant or interesting for me, but there was one scene that surprised me, the washing machine one. If you read this book, I am sure you remember. That scene got me good. There is great friendship between Cora and her 2 cleaning partners. You get more and more attached to these people, and I wish we got to know more about them and spend time with them, especially because Cora was not my favorite character. I am glad I did not put Bat Eater down, despite it being set in COVID era. In fact, I am happy this book was written and that so many people like it, because it talks about stuff that needs to be talked about, and the author did a great job blending supernatural, horror, mystery, social commentary, and Chinese folklore. Second to last, we have the Buffalo Hunter x Hunter. This is a kind of book, its title, its cover, that I would never pick up myself, but I again saw someone review it and I wanted to give it a go because I have never read anything written by Stephen Graham Jones before, and it was another horror, this time historical and with vampires. To be honest, I have to sit on this book a bit more to figure out my feelings. It was certainly different, at least it seemed to me. I have not read many horror books, but I have to admit the whole middle part of the story is just one big blob in my mind. That might be more a reflection on me and my state of mind than the author, though. More I think about it, more I understand how unique this story is. It merges philosophy, history, indigenous mythology, and haunting atmosphere so beautifully. And the approach to a vampire character is uncommon and surprising. Main part of the story is a confession from Goodstab, a Piccony Blackfoot man turned vampire who seeks absolution after his bloody revenge for the murdered people of his clan. It's told through diary entries, which I am not the biggest fan of, but I have to admit it brought the interesting dynamic to the story. Language can be quite confusing at times, and to this day I still have no idea what some words meant, and I can see why people would have a problem with it, but it all makes sense why author made choices he did. This novel is built on real events, except the vampire part, of course, and it shows what is usually hidden from history. All the blood, violence, hatred, and atrocities white people brought with them. It's that type of historical fiction that makes me want to read and learn more about the actual events, and I appreciate when author can write a book that makes me want to do that. Lastly, there is Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice, another vampire story, I know. It is such a slow and meandering book, and if I read this any other time, I would probably strongly dislike it. I seem to have picked it up at the right time, and that's only because I needed to read a book with a word "with" in the title for the buzzword readathon. It is a story of Louis, who is turned into a vampire and he cannot find a meaning for his life. He searches for the answers to who he is, why is he the way he is, why he does not take pleasure in killing humans as he should be. But there seem to be no answers. He struggles through his now immortal life just as he did when he was a human. His creator is not willing to teach him about the vampire life, and it only deepens his loneliness. Later, there is a child vampire introduced. It changes the dynamic of the relationship between the creator and Louis, and it also creates a moral issue, which author addresses throughout the story. I went back and forth between liking the story and being bored, because some sections were extremely philosophical and meandering, and they felt repetitive, but I can see why it is mostly well-loved classic. Also, the movie is supposedly better, so I might watch it later. Overall, December was quite a successful reading month for me. Not only did I finish 8 books, they were all 4+ star rates, which does not happen often. In December, I also took part in the Sales and Tales reading challenge created by Manda Made. You probably know her by her amazing pirate-themed reading journal she created for 2025. Her setups are outstanding. You should definitely check her out. There is a link to her channel in the description. This is, just as her journal, pirate-themed reading challenge, and we were given 2 versions, so you can choose which one to participate in based on how much you read. I am putting both versions in my journal because why not? On the left side, you can circle the prompts as you read your books, and that will show you which of the 3 characters, the captain, pirate or mermaid, you end up being. The second option is a bingo board. That's perfect for those who read lots of books. And what's fun about this is that Amanda gave us blank bingo board and the prompts are on the separate paper. We need to cut them out ourselves and add them onto the bingo board in whatever order we want, so everyone ends up with different board. That's so fun and inventive. Now, let's switch to a real-time RYEMI and see how good or bad I did in this reading challenge. Okay, thank you to the voiceover RYEMI. I want to go through this video in real time because doing voiceover for this, I think it would be quite awkward and I just feel like it will be better. After this, we are going to fill in all of my monthly and yearly trackers, which I am so excited about since this is December and we will see how well I did in all of the challenges. Back to the Sales and Tales reading challenge by Manda Made. I was so excited when she announced this challenge and I knew I would participate right away. Even when I was not sure how many books I would read, she did a great job of presenting us with 2 versions, so no matter how many books you read, you can still participate, which is absolutely great. Okay, I feel like I need to have her name somewhere on this page, so I'm just going to cut out her name from the file and I'm going to paste it in. Let's just put it there. Let's start with this version. I will go through every book I have finished in December. We will find a prompt for each of them and at the end I will figure out if I am the captain, the pirate, or the mermaid. Now let's just go with a regular pen. So the first book I finished was Alchemised, and let's circle in the gold foil on the cover. Next I finished Matched, and let's see, that was a recent purchase. Oh, Bat Eater, and that's Lured by Another's 5 stars, definitely. Buffalo Hunter. That fits so well with contains a non-human character. Okay, this is looking kind of interesting. I'm kind of sad I probably won't be a pirate, but we'll see. Okay, then there was the Raven Boys. I am going with read a book that contains a map. In the story, Ganzi has a journal, and in that journal there are multiple maps, so I'm going with that. Luminescence, and that has water on the cover. The whole cover is water, so it fits perfectly for this prompt. Interview with the Vampire, I think we can circle in contains a morally grey character, because it does. And the last book I finished was Everlasting, and that contains colors of my country's flag, because my country is Slovakia, and we definitely have white, red, and some blue flowers in there as well. So let's circle in this one, and that means I am the captain, which is so fun. I did not think it would end this way, but I am really happy with that. Okay, now for this version, I thought I would color in the same prompts as I circled in here, but I will also go through all the rest of the prompts and figure if there are books that would fit more of them. I will try to match as many prompts as possible to every single book, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so maybe let's do blue pen and color in prompts that are circled in. Let's just do this. Okay, maybe I should color in the whole square. Yeah, that would probably look better. So let's do that. I glued these prompts in very randomly, and it is lots of fun. Oh, seems I did a good job. As you can see, I did not get a bingo when using one book for one prompt, but I am going to use this beige color, and we will go through all of these prompts again and see if any of the books fit more than one prompt. So let's see. A book with pretty cover. Okay, there are so many. I'd say almost all books I have read in December have pretty cover, so that's easy. A title contains a word with sound. I don't think we have any of those, which is such a shame because I could have bingo. Oh man. Okay. Take a chance on a new genre. Well, I tried to read horror books. Gemstone in the title, on the cover, nope. And another missed bingo. Oh man. Metal word in the title, nope. Continue a series you've been swept up into, no. Okay, I can color in this, even though it will probably be not really helpful, but hope dies last, right? A special edition, no, there was no special edition. A book with sun or stars on the cover, I don't think so, but let's look through these very quickly. Sun or stars, nope. We have sun rays, but no sun or stars. Final book in a series, nope. Read from genre you are loyal to, yeah. I have read a few fantasy books, so that works. Book with an isolated setting, Okay, I think maybe the matched, because it all happens in one place, I'd say. And well, I don't know, would it count? I don't know. So I would rather not color it in. Book with north, south, east and west in the title. Nope. Read a story on leadership. Well, does failed leadership count? Because the interview with the vampire, that's prime example of failed leadership. But also maybe Raven Boys. Yeah, because the Genzi was kind of a leader of a group, so I'll go with that. And Impulse Buy. Oh man, that was the Buffalo Hunter. I just saw good review. I am not sure by whom, because I watch so many booktubers. So yeah, I saw the review and I decided I want to read that book. Okay, book with a black and white cover. No. Book with a white cover. No. Okay, guys, I have colored in so many boxes and there is no bingo. Well, that's fine. At least it was fun. Thank you so much, Manda, for making this readathon. It was lots of fun. Even when I did not get any bingos, but I know that I am the captain and that's amazing. Let's now flip to the beginning of this journal and let's look through all of the yearly challenges. I need to color in 8 squares for a reading goal, and let's just use the same blue. Oh, I forgot to color in November. Okay, let's just find any brown marker to do so. That might not be it. Nope. This one. Close enough. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I am ending the year with 75 read books, which is absolutely amazing considering how busy my life was. Okay, let's see. Books read, I already filled that in, and now I'm going to add all the book covers in. This is like my favorite part of this video, every single month. Okay, so Alchemised, follow you. Okay, I adore how this looks and I'm so excited that I almost filled in the third page. I like how it looks so much. And I keep saying that in every single video, so I hope you are not tired of that. Okay, read my shelf. There was, Luminescence. I have had it on my bookshelf for more than a year and I'm so happy I have finally read that. I don't think there is anything else in this list. Now, series tracker. I have not finished any series, but I think I started few. Of course I did. The Vampire Chronicles. That has like 13 books. That's the interview with the vampire one, and I am definitely not going to continue the series. The fact that I liked that book is baffling, because in any other circumstances I would probably hate on this book for how slow it is. So let's do 13 dots. I'll do them here. That's 13 and I read 1, but I am not going to continue, so I'm just adding X in there. And then the Raven Cycle. No, let's write the matched in here. That's a series I am definitely going to continue, which I would have never thought, I'd say. The Raven Cycle, the graphic novels, I might read them. There is no space left in here. I should do a new space here. I'm not sure I have the right marker. Oh, I do. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. So let's put it in here. I have no idea what I'm doing, guys. You can probably tell that's so far there are 2 and I have read one of them. I think we can go into my 2026 reading journal and write down the series I am going to continue, just so this list is complete. So as I said, I'm going to continue the matched and the Raven Cycle graphic novels. That's 2 books so far. I'll just freehand this and hope I won't regret that. I can color in first square for both of those. Oh, and just like that, the first page is full. Well, it's a good thing I have one more page for exactly that reason. This is done. Now let's go back to 2025. Next list is 25 in 2025. I will need a star and I'm going to put it next to Alchemised. And let's see, I have finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 books out of my 25 in 2025 list. To be honest, it is more than I expected I would finish. This is pretty successful for me. Now, books bought, nothing, and this I was not able to sleep because I did not know what to read for a book with a light green cover, and thank you so much, Christine, again for recommending the match. Not only is it the perfect color, but I was able to finish the full challenge, which is amazing. Okay, so let's put it in. 4 stars. Honestly, I did not think I would finish this challenge, but look at me. This is amazing. Now, next we have days I finished a book. It was 4th on Thursday, then Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. Oh, that was a successful week. And Monday. Wow. And then Wednesday. I put this tracker in here to see if there are maybe some days I like to finish my books more often. It turns out maybe not. Maybe Sundays are quite popular, it seems, and that's about it. I usually have a little more time for listening to audiobooks when I am doing my chores or something, so I tend to finish more books on Sunday. Yeah, okay. Nothing for DNF Graveyard, thankfully. And December statistics. I forgot to fill them in, so I will do that quickly. Okay, December was my most successful reading month based on ratings, which is awesome. I was struggling in the middle of the year, so this is amazing. And I will go through all of these stats and figure their totals later, because I am not in state of mind to do that now, but I am so excited to see the completely finished table. Okay, now, pages per book. I have finally read some shorter books. 1 book that was under 200 pages. 2 that were between 200 and 300 pages. Yeah. Now this, we are going to add more into books under 400 pages. And that's 3. Of course, it is 3. I am so glad I made this extension based on your suggestions, so that's pretty sweet. Okay, and one book over 400 pages and one book over 1000 pages, so I am excited. I can color in at least one square in here. As we could see throughout the whole year, books I am reading most are between 300 and 500 pages, which I guess it's a majority of books, so I can't be mad about that. But I am also very happy I read some of these longer books. Ultimately, it does not really matter how long books I am reading, as long as I am having fun. That's all that matters. Hall of Fame. I am not going to deal with that or with my top 10 books of the year now. I will probably do that in my next journal vlog, and that one will be solely reading journal focused. I want to make some very small changes in how I will do my reading wrap-ups, so I will talk more about it there, and we will figure out my top 10 books of the year. And also fill in the Hall of Fame. I want to print and add all the book covers in here, and maybe go through books I have read and see if I can find more that I liked. Because sometimes I need time to realize that I liked the book or that I enjoyed the story, even when it sometimes takes me a while to figure it out. Next we have A to Z challenge. The Everlasting, I think we can fit that in. An Interview with the Vampire, and Alchemised, I can fit that in. For the next year, I am completely changing the way I will be doing this challenge. For the authors, I can add 3 names for the A. Alex E. Harrow, then we had Anne Rice and Ali Condi. For D, we had Jamila Knopf, Stephen Graham Jones, I can fit him in here. Kylie Lee Baker, she can also fit in here. The author section of this challenge was not as successful, but considering I was not even focusing on this challenge and just filling it randomly as I read, it was pretty successful still. Okay, Reading in Pixels, I have still not filled in my November nor December, so I will need to do that shortly. And for places I have visited, I have added in Dominion for the Everlasting, Louisiana for the Interview with the Vampire, as well as Paris, and Montana is for the Buffalo Hunter x Hunter, and New York Chinatown is for Bat Eater. Now, Court of Drinks and Book Talks is a reading club I have with 2 of my friends, and I am waiting for them to read a book so then I can read it as well. So it is not my problem that it is not yet finished, but I am willing to wait. A reading bingo. I have here manga and webtoon left, and I am going to include graphic novel in here as well, because it is in same realm somewhere, so I am going to do that. And with that, I also get full bingo board cleared, which is awesome. I was sitting on the last square for a few months now, and I am happy it is finally filled in. Okay, and the last one is Buzzword Reading Challenge. I had no idea, again, if I would finish this challenge fully, but in almost the last minute I decided to read Interview with the Vampire, and with that I finished the whole challenge, which is absolutely awesome. Kyla already released the challenge for 2026, and I am going to participate in that one as well, and I'm so excited to make my pages for it, but that will happen later. I have no idea when, so if you are interested in seeing me setting up some new challenges for 2026, please don't forget to subscribe, because I myself have no idea when that will happen. One priority I have for 2026 is to set up my reading challenges journal, and I want to start with a Read Around the World challenge, which is a massive undertaking, and I know I will probably never read for every single country, but I will try, and I can't wait to set up the journal for that. That was the last page for my yearly challenges. Let's go to the December page. Okay, I have switched the December title. I have made it smaller and I accidentally printed it lighter, but that's fine. And I also switched around some of these snowflakes. I think it looks better, but this section is not my favorite, let's say that. This I adore. So this is the cover page. Now I put the Alchemised in here because I read most of this book in November and there was one page left, so why not use that? That's why it is in here. And let's flip back and there is matched. I am so excited I could finally use this PET tape. You have no idea, guys. Then there is a small section for the Luminescence, the art book. I knew there were only 4 pages, or maybe 5 if I used that one, to fit in 8 books. Well, 7 considering I put Alchemist in here. So I had to be creative and I decided to use these flaps again. And I used them for books that I did not really have a lot to write about. That's why these are smaller, because I could definitely make these flaps bigger, but this was just enough. I like how the green flows to this page as well. And I am so happy that these colors are almost the same. And we have this beautiful sticker in here. She was just perfect. I could have not used her in this scenario. Okay, and the next page is, I have not realized that until I was working on this spread, that all of these are basically books with a lot of that. That was an interesting realization. I was having a hard time trying to fit 3 books on 2 pages and decorate them somehow. I have a lot of darker themed stationery, but when you put all of it next to each other, it does not really match. So I decided to use these PET tapes for kind of dividers between all of the book reviews. All of them are, I'd say, matching the vibe of the book. So I got roses and candles for Interview with the Vampire. And then I have, this is quite disturbing PET tape. It is one of my least favorites out of this set I have, but this book was disturbing as well. So I thought this would be perfect fit, and the amount of skulls is just, it fits the story so well. And for Bat Eater, I just found one that fit the color scheme the most. If we pretend all of these butterflies are bats, then it is absolutely perfect. I know that this is kind of like dark and moody spread, and then I put Scully stickers in here, but I could not do it because he just makes me smile. Having a sticker of a skeleton coming out of the coffin next to vampire stories was just too hilarious to me not to do that. So I decided to put Scully in here, and I put the last one from the sticker sheet in here just because the colors were somewhat there. And then I decided to add these skeleton cats. Those were also kind of fitting the story, and I did not have any more of these Scully stickers, so I just wanted to have something for Buffalo Hunter as well. And these stickers are all from Marigona Sully, and all of these PET tapes are from Journal Say. Everything is, as always, linked in the description if you see something you like. And on the last spread we have the Sales and Tales challenge. This was again so much fun. That was everything for my December wrap-up and everything for this reading journal. I am thinking about doing flip through of the whole journal. It has become so chunky. If you are interested in that, please let me know so I can make it happen. And with that, thank you guys so much for watching. Tell us all in the comments what was your favorite read of December, or maybe your favorite read of the whole year. I am always looking for some recommendations, so I am excited to read your comments. Have absolutely a lovely day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.